Have you ever been judged, not by your actions, but by your appearance? What if a peaceful afternoon with your kids turned into a police encounter, with guns drawn? Because someone assumed the worst, without even asking a question? Today's story isn't fiction. It's not an exaggeration. It's the truth of what happened to a man named Darnell Rivers. A father, a mentor, a man who once got labeled a gang member simply for driving his own children home from school. Before we begin, let me ask you. Have you ever felt unsafe while doing something totally normal? Your story might be more common than you think. Do you believe racism can come disguised in the name of a suspicion? Tell us in the comments. And if you care about truth, justice, and real stories that reveal what's often hidden, subscribe to Secrets of the Case and hit the bell icon, because the world needs more stories like this. Now, let's go back to the day everything changed for Darnell Rivers. Darnell Rivers wasn't a gangster. He wasn't even a troublemaker. At 37, he was a single father of two. Aaliyah, age 6, with the brightest smile in her first-grade class. Jamal, age 9, a curious fourth grader who could name every planet backward. Darnell worked 2 jobs. During the day, he was a warehouse supervisor. At night, he drove rideshare to keep food on the table. They'll grow up free, not fearful. But despite his rough past, growing up in a neighborhood plagued by violence, Darnell made a promise to himself: my kids will never see what I saw. Every Friday, he picked them up from school, took them for ice cream, then home to start their weekend. It was supposed to be a tradition. A small joy. But on that Friday, everything went wrong. Jamal was showing her how to do math on a napkin. Laughs in the car. The kids sang along to Bruno Mars on the stereo. It started like any other Friday. Sunny skies. Darnell had just pulled out of the Baskin-Robbins parking lot. Aaliyah had a chocolate-stained mouth. That's when he saw it. A black SUV in the rearview mirror. Unmarked. Tinted windows. At first, he ignored it. But then, it got closer. And closer. Then, lights. Blue and red. Unmarked or not, it was clearly law enforcement. What the? Darnell muttered. Hold on, kids. He pulled over slowly. Hands visible. Calm voice. Keep your hands on your laps. Don't move, okay, he said to his children, who suddenly grew quiet. 2 officers approached, fast, aggressive. One had his hand on his gun. The other yelled. Driver. Step out of the vehicle now. Officer, may I ask what this is about? My kids are in the, I said out. Now. Darnell stepped out, hands raised, voice steady. I'm their father. I just picked them up from school. Is something wrong? One officer shoved him toward the car. The other peeked in, looked at the kids. Stay still, he barked at the frightened children. We got a tip, the first officer said. Black sedan. Suspected gang activity. You fit the description. Darnell blinked. I'm wearing a tie. I just came from work. I've got my badge, look. We don't need attitude. Turn around. And just like that. He was cuffed. On the sidewalk. In front of his crying children. This is Darnell Rivers. I've seen him at the community center. Neighbors gathered. Phones came out. Some watched. Others whispered. That's Darnell. He's not in a gang. He coaches Little League. But none of it mattered. It took 17 minutes for backup to arrive. Another officer recognized him. Wait, this guy? One of the original officers still didn't budge. The tip said, black male, shaved head, black Toyota. Matches. The backup officer looked at the kids, now silently crying in the back seat. These are his children. They're students at Lincoln Elementary. What are we doing? Finally, the cuffs came off. No apology. Just. We were doing our job. You matched a known gang member's vehicle. Mistakes happen. Mistakes. To them, it was a protocol. To Darnell, it was a public humiliation. A scar on his children's memories. That night, Jamal had nightmares. Aaliyah didn't want to ride in Daddy's car anymore. Darnell sat at the edge of his bed, shaking. Not from fear, but from shame. He did everything right. And still, he was treated like a criminal. Monday morning, he filed a complaint. By Wednesday, the body cam footage couldn't be found. The officer was within policy. There would be no further action. He talked to lawyers. Most shrugged. Unless they beat you or it went viral, there's not much we can do. And yet, he couldn't stay silent. He went on Facebook. Wrote a post titled, "I'm not a gang member. I'm just a dad." It went viral. Thousands of shares. Local news picked it up. The story made it to national blogs. Darnell began speaking. At schools. Churches. Town halls. One night at a local forum, a woman stood up. "You made me realize something. I used to say, just follow the law and you'll be fine. But you did, and it still happened. I'm so sorry." Another man came forward. "This happened to me too. But I was too afraid to speak." It became a movement. Darnell co-founded an advocacy group called Dad Not Danger. They held workshops, taught kids and adults alike how to film police encounters, how to stay safe, and how to report violations. One day, Aaliyah walked up to him and said, "Daddy, I'm proud of you. You protect people now." He knelt, hugged her, and cried. Because the fear was still there. But it no longer owned him. Darnell's case wasn't isolated. According to studies, black drivers are 20% more likely to be pulled over. Twice as likely to be searched, even when nothing's found. And fathers, especially young black fathers, are often seen as suspects before they're seen as parents. The stereotype? If he's black, shaved head, tattoos, driving a decent car, he must be a gang member. But Darnell wasn't a statistic. He was a father. He is a father. And his story is one of many, hidden behind fear, shame, or silence. What happened to Darnell wasn't just a misunderstanding. It was profiling. It was trauma. And it almost cost him his dignity, and his children's trust in the world. So let me ask you. What would you have done in his place? Would you have stayed quiet, or spoken up like Darnell did? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share your truth. If stories like this move you, if you believe silence needs to be broken, subscribe to Secrets of the Case right now. Because real change starts with real stories. And here, every voice matters. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay aware, stay safe, and never stop asking. What's the truth behind the silence?